Hello, everybody. Good to see y'all tonight. I hope you guys can hear me. If you can't, let me know in the chat, or Veep, you can help me out with that. You guys give me a second. Something's wrong with my tripod. Okay, there we go. Okay, welcome to What's Up, Nisi? Glad to see you guys tonight. Welcome to the Stargazer Sports podcast that I do every Monday, God willing, at 7 o'clock. Sorry that we are a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay because I'm here now. Got some exciting things to talk about today. As you guys know, well, you should know, we had our first preseason game on Saturday versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. We did lose the game, but of course, I told y'all last week, don't worry about preseason. Isn't about who wins and who loses, right? It's about evaluating your backups to see who is going to make the roster, who's going to make your practice squad, who you're going to cut. So, and I think from today's episode, we're going to get in deeply to evaluation of almost every player on the roster. If I don't mention them, that's just because of I didn't see them do much, or I didn't have really much to evaluate on. I will say that we are still, as content creators, sports analysts, and everybody, waiting on the All 22 to be put up by the NFL, so we can watch the game in more detail. But your girl Star was like, even though the All 22 is not out, I'm not worried about it. We're just gonna go ahead, and I just reviewed the game, as we saw it on Saturday. But I, of course, had to go through it in detail. I'm watching each position. So the notes and the recap that I give today is going to be, that's me watching the game. I watched it on Saturday, then I rewatched it again today, just to make sure I had a clear view of my evaluation on players. So before we start, I would encourage everybody to like this video, please. Share this video, please. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Stargazer Sports. I am live on there right now. Please subscribe to the BlastMusic 247 YouTube page. They are the people who have offered me, this platform to do a podcast on another platform other than my own. So please, guys, show them love by subscribing to their channel. They have so many different types of podcasts, from mental health to comedy to spoken word. I mean, it's just a great platform, you guys. So I really encourage you guys to subscribe there. And then also, if you guys could help me donate to my channel, because every donation helps me grow my platform. If those who are watching on YouTube, that my my display is still like I'm on the phone, because I am on my phone. Still waiting to get my laptop replacement, but hopefully that'll be taken care of this week. I think that's it. Please follow me on all my social medias. On Instagram, I am Stargazer_sports. On Facebook, I am Stargazer Sports Media. And on Twitter, I am the Stargazer. It's all one word, but instead of an E in gazer, it's a 3, and then it's 2 R's at the end instead of 1. All right, so I think I done plugged all my stuff. I plug Blast, plug my platforms, and I think we should be ready to go. Veep, if you could let me know in the chat, do we have background music playing? I can't hear it, but if you just let me know in the chat, that's fine, because I think I had that same issue last week. But when I rewatched the show, the music was playing the whole time. So, but without further ado, because we got a lot of stuff to evaluate, so let's go ahead and get into this content tonight. All right, so Dallas Cowboys preseason game 1 recap. And I entitled this show Stock Up, Stock Down. Because today we are going to be talking about whose stock is up, whose stock is down, and whose stock is even, meaning you didn't really wow me, but you didn't do worse than I expected. So that's what it is. If I say stock up, that means that you exceeded my expectations. If I say stock down, that means you did not meet my expectations. If I say stock even, that means that you just simply met my expectations. You did about how I thought you were going to do. All right, so, and again, guys, this is very detailed, so I'm going by each position group, okay? So, of course, we're going to start off with the quarterbacks. Okay, so, of course, we only have 2 backup quarterbacks, which is Cooper Rush, Will Grier. So, I told you guys, what's up, the lunatic? Glad to see you. I told you guys last week that, we really wanted to look at this QB battle, right? Because at this point, the way I see it is, it's Cooper Rush's job to lose, okay? So, evaluating the quarterbacks. Now, I will say this first. Both of the quarterbacks did not look great. I'm going to be honest with y'all. They did not look great, and a big part of that is because of the offensive line play, which I'm going to get more into that as we go along in the show, of course, because I did say I'm going by position group. But just talking about Cooper Rush, I said Cooper Rush's stock was even, meaning that he did about what I expected him to do. I think with his stats, because he played the entire first quarter and I think a bit of the second quarter. And then the rest of the game, Will Grier played. Cooper Rush, to me, he looked like Cooper Rush. And that means, he's fairly accurate. Cooper Rush has never been extremely inaccurate. So he's pretty accurate. He was able to get that ball out of his hands pretty fast, which if you watched Cooper Rush play last year or last season when Dak went down, Cooper Rush was like leading the league, or maybe not leading the league, but he was in the top of quarterbacks who, and I wish I had got that specific stat, but I don't have it for you guys, so I apologize for that. But he was one of the quarterbacks who led the league in basically getting the ball out of his hands. So that is a part of Cooper Rush's MO, right? Also, we have to know that now, because we're in the Texas Coast offense, which is a combination. If you've been following me, you should know there's a combination between what? The West Coast offense and the Air Coryell offense. The Air Coryell offense is Kellen Moore's system. He's gone now. The West Coast offense is Mike McCarthy's system. So that's the combination of offense that we're running. I talked to you guys a lot about how you see the quarterbacks doing the 3-step drops and things like that. When you do 3-step drop, the ball comes out of your hands a lot quicker. So my evaluation on Cooper Rush is, he did about what I expected him to do, and he did about what he could do. Cooper Rush, my knock on Cooper Rush, and the reason why I'm slowly or slightly pulling for Will Grier, or was pulling for Will Grier to beat him, is because Will Grier is mobile. In the game, if you go back and rewatch, you see that we were able to do things with Grier that we would do with Dak as far as QB runs. We can't really call any QB runs at all with Cooper Rush because he is a statue. He is like a Tom Brady, which that's fine. But when you have the thing about your backup quarterback is you want them to mirror your starting quarterback as much as possible. The difference is obviously is in the arm talent. And unfortunately, Cooper Rush, he's got the offensive system down, the leadership, he knows the playbook and everything, but his one knock is that he's not mobile, and Will Grier is. And that's why we were able to use him, how we would use Dak on some QB runs. And one of the QB runs ended up getting us a huge gain. And I think on that drive, we were able to score. Now, my evaluation of Will Grier. Will Grier did not have a good game. I don't care what anybody says. I know that we were able to, eventually get into some rhythm and score, but there were easy throws that he was missing. Like he missed Sean McEwen for a first down. It was an easy rollout. He had some mental errors, doing things like there was when he got sacked, some people were thinking that was on Austin Richards, but it was actually on Will Grier because he backed up way too much. He should have stepped up, and he didn't. He stepped. I don't know if y'all are familiar with offensive line play, but essentially, when the offensive line does their technique, where they're pushing the defensive end, like they'll push him around the quarterback, so the quarterback is supposed to step up. Will Grier did not do that. He went further back, and then basically he ran into a sack. You get what I'm saying? So Will Grier, his stock is down. Right now, I'm not feeling too confident in him taking over for Cooper Rush. He still has 2 games to prove something else. Like I said, it's not that he was completely terrible, but at the same time, he did not perform how I expected him to. There was also like decision making. For example, he tried to force a ball to Jalen Brooks when he had Jalen Tolbert wide open. In the play, you will see the commentators were even commenting on it. They were like, that play was designed to get Jalen Tolbert open. So that technically that should have been his first read, but instead he forced the ball to Jalen Brooks. It was an incompletion. We had to punt the ball. So all around, his decision making, his accuracy, just wasn't good. I think Cooper Rush played slightly better than him, simply for the fact that Cooper Rush has more game starting experience. He can deal with pressure a little bit better. Will Grier to me just looked frazzled. That's the best way I can describe it. Hopefully next week we see, not next week, this upcoming week, because we got another game. Ooh, when is our game? I should have had that for you guys. That's my fault. I think our next game is probably going to be on Saturday or Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Veep, if you could possibly look that up for me, that'd be great. But I don't know if you could do it while we're on the show, but if you could, that'd be great. But anyway, so overall, right now, Cooper Rush is still in the lead for sure as far as quarterback too. But as I said, we got 2 more games for Will Grier to show up. So hopefully he's able to settle in these next 2 games. But let's go ahead and move. Nisi, it's Saturday. Thank you, Nisi. I appreciate that. So hopefully, like I said, he does better, but it wasn't. All right, moving on to the running backs. So Malik Davis, stock is down. He had mental errors in the blocking protection. He had mental errors in route timing with the quarterback. He got Cooper Rush's head blown off for missing a blocking assignment. At first, I had to rewatch it because I thought it was on Josh Ball and Matt Walesko, but no, it was actually on Malik Davis. On top of that, Malik Davis, like I said, some of the routes, if y'all see in that first half, he sabotaged Cooper Rush, almost getting, which was allowed the defensive back to make a play on the ball and almost got a pick six. So he just looked like a fish out of water out there, just to be honest. And I think because he just wasn't playing good, he kind of got in his head, and just there were some things that he did well. A few catches out of the backfield wasn't bad, and stuff like that. And I really enjoy the way he runs, but there's just so much more to being a running back than running. This was a huge reason why many people were standing on table for Zeke, who is now, if you guys haven't heard, Ezekiel Elliott will not be coming back to the Dallas Cowboys because he is now a New England Patriot. So that ship is sailed, so we can stop screaming, bring Zeke back. He's not coming back, guys. His time in Dallas is officially over. Very sad about that, but it is what it is. We got to move on, right? The show must go on. Another thing that I didn't talk to you guys, well, I'll talk about it when I get to the next slide. But anyway, Malik Davis' stock is down. Rico Dowdle, I put his stock is even. Right? Rico Dowdle looks Rico Dowdle-ish, which he's a very hard runner. He actually runs with power, or what they call, he runs with juice. Had reliable hands out of the backfield. I think he actually did fairly well on pass protection, picking up blitzes and things like that. But I say he was even because poor ball protection. Right now, he only had one fumble, but guess what? One fumble can cost you a game. And one thing that people don't mention enough about our running back tandem last season with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott is that there were 0 fumbles. Okay, so, and what sucked with Rico's fumble is that he was running hard and he was about to score. He's actually about to get a touchdown, but instead the defensive back knocked that ball out right before he got to the goal line, and it was a turnover. And I think they didn't score on that drive or anything like that, but that doesn't matter because it took points off the board. If we had a score there, we would have won the game. Now, remember, I told you winning doesn't matter, but you still would like to win, right? Because the team who wins is a team who's just able to put it together. In the preseason, the team who was able to just put it together a little bit better and less mental errors. Okay. So, but then moving on. So Rico Dowdle's stock is even. Moving on to my guy, Deuce Vaughn. If you have been following Stargazer Sports, you know that Deuce Vaughn, excuse me guys, that Deuce Vaughn was my pet cat coming out of this year's draft, that I was over the moon about us getting him as a 6th round pick. He was definitely a steal. He was definitely the steal of the draft. And I have here in my notes, he looked like K-State Deuce. And if you knew K-State Deuce, you would know K-State Deuce looked better than Bijan Robinson. Had, I think, more yards from scrimmage than Bijan. To me, more than Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know if he had more touchdowns than them, but I think he ultimately had more production than Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, who were the top 2 running backs, according to everybody else, out of this draft. But Star had Deuce the number 1 running back in this year's draft. I sure did. At 5'5", I sure did. Because when I watched Deuce's film, he was just electric. Just such a dynamic runner, and he was a bell cow for Kansas State. A bell cow meaning that he was the primary back. They were sprinkling backs every now and again just to give him a rest. But Deuce was the blocker, the pass catcher, the runner, right? And all of what Deuce was in college and that made him electric, we saw in this game. We saw the elusiveness. We saw the patience. We saw him break tackles. We saw him catching the ball out of the backfield. Literally, he did if you guys watched, I believe that was his game versus TCU, because K-State ended up beating TCU. I think that was for the championship game, not the ultimate championship game, but just for like the conference, I believe. And he looked the exact same. It was almost like deja vu, where he did a Texas route and literally jumped like 20 feet in the air and caught that ball. He's just such a fun guy to watch. And I'm really pulling for Deuce to become running back 2, especially now since we know that Zeke is not coming back. I'm really pulling for Deuce to be running back 2. I think he can do. This kid has played against top competition. Again, he went to Kansas State, right? So he played against top competition. He played against Alabama. He played against LSU. He went against Texas. He's played against top competition and produced against top competition as a bell cow back. He's not going to be a bell cow back in Dallas. Who said that? Nisi, yes, that catch was just everything. He's not going to be a bell cow back in Dallas simply because, we have Tony Pollard, right, who will be our running back 1. But the kid was just phenomenal, as I expected him to be. And I expect him to continue to grow. But just for him to show up like that in his first NFL game ever, we should really be excited for him. So his stock is definitely up. Y'all will see here, I left off Hunter Luepke because he had like a couple of runs here and there, but he wasn't really dynamic. He didn't really, and I didn't really see him do anything crazy in the what's it called, the pass or run block protection or anything like that. So I kind of left him off. But Malik Davis is down. Dowdle's stock is even, but Deuce Vaughn's stock is up, and we are definitely pulling for him to take that running back 2 spot. All right, we could go to our next position. Veep, do you want to take a break here and do the music artist of the week, or should we just keep rolling?
We can do it now if you like.
Okay, I think we did start a little bit behind, so let me just do this. I think the next is the tight ends, and then we can do the
Blast artist of the week. Sure thing.
Okay, next I actually have up the wide receivers. I thought it was the tight ends, but wide receivers stop. Jalen freaking Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert all but proved yesterday that the issue was never him. It was Kellen freaking Moore. Man, did Jalen Tolbert show up yesterday. Not yesterday, but on Saturday on all fronts. On blocking. Actually, that almost touchdown drive by Rico Dowdle, when he fumbled it, Jalen Tolbert was blocking his ass off. Okay, so just incredible. There was a pass where Cooper Rush literally threw it in a triple coverage. Jalen Tolbert, the ball was tipped up. Jalen Tolbert caught it for a first down. Jalen Tolbert scored a touchdown. Jalen Tolbert did a Des Bryant, Michael Gallup-esque catch, even though they did not count it as it was a catch, but there was a penalty, so it got pulled back. But man, oh man, did he show up. He showed up crazy yesterday. And so I'm just super excited for this kid, because we knew when he came out of college from South Alabama, right? We knew that he was dynamic, and that's why it was so disappointing when he couldn't get on the field. And, the running joke, he was lined up on the wrong side of the field, the limited snaps that he did get. So, man, I'm super excited for this kid, because I really think all that hard work, being attached to Brandon Cooks this entire offseason, is paying off tremendously for him. And I think that he's just going to continue to get better and better and better and better. So, shout out to Jalen Tolbert for that great performance that he did. I don't really think he could have played any better or any harder. I feel like he all but showed that he should be wide receiver 4. Hopefully he continues to build off of that. Now, KaVontae Turpin. I said KaVontae Turpin's stock is down because the limited opportunities that he did get, or he was on the field first. He was on the field quite a bit, right? But the times that he was targeted, he did not really show up. Now, I will say there was a big catch that he ended up getting, I think, on the touchdown drive from Jalen Tolbert. So props to KaVontae for that. But there were balls that he missed that he should have catched. And I just think that I just wanted to see him be more dynamic, and we really didn't get that in this game. And then he also fumbled the ball, which caused the Jags to score a touchdown. So his stock is down right now. I don't even see him as a competitor for wide receiver 4, to be quite honest. Maybe wide receiver 5. And again, he can still build off of it, but guys, this is my evaluation from game 1. So Turpin, he can get better, right? And he can show that he can be dynamic in his offense. And I think maybe Mike and them, but again, Mike and them are really watering down the offense, right? Because I would like to see him out of the backfield, do a jet sweep, something like that, try to get him more in space, to see him really impact the game. But as I said, I think he could have done a lot better. So I was expecting him, from what we had saw in training camp, I was expecting him to kind of like show up and show out, and he did not do that. So his stock is down. Simi Fehoko, stock is up. Now, granted, Simi played with the third team, so he did not get any run or any burn against the ones. But he showed up versus the 2s and the 3s. Point blank period. He was one of Will Grier, apart from Dennis Houston. He was Dennis Houston and Simi Fehoko during that second half were his favorite targets. I don't think Simi dropped the ball. I don't think he dropped the ball. He was also blocking. I also saw him run hard and sell routes even when he wasn't targeted. So I definitely think his stock is up. I cannot say so he's definitely still in the running for wide receiver 4, but we need to see him against better competition, because Jalen Tolbert showed up against the ones, right? The ones and the 2s from the Jaguars defense. So we need to see Simi go against better competition for him to be able to get neck and neck with Tolbert. But his stock is up for sure. Jalen Brooks, his stock is even. He was pretty reliable, but he wasn't as dynamic as if we saw him in camp. But I think you also have to attribute that to he wasn't targeted too much. But it's like, he caught a ball, then he couldn't. Some of them are overthrows, because as I said, Will Grier did not play well. But I would like to see more him be a little bit more dynamic, because he was killing it at camp. I didn't see that from him in this game. But that doesn't mean that he can't get better. So that's why I said his stock is even, because he definitely did not. He met my expectations. I really didn't expect him to come out and ball out. So I think he did okay. Dennis Houston, I would say his stock is up. There was a drive on the third quarter. I believe it was in the third, or maybe it was the top of the fourth, where Will Grier was just going Dennis Houston, back to back, and he was catching every single one of those balls. So Dennis Houston was extremely reliable. And I think that goes a long way. When your number is called, are you showing up? And Dennis Houston showed up, and also he was getting open on his routes. That's why Will Grier was able to continuously go to him back to back to back to back to back. So Jalen Tolbert stock up, KaVontae Turpin stock down, Simi Fehoko stock up in my opinion, Jalen Brooks even, Dennis Houston stock up. And so people like Dennis Houston, KaVontae Turpin, Jalen Brooks, they're competing to me for wide receiver 5. But Simi Fehoko, Tolbert competed. They are still in the running for that wide receiver 4 spot, but Tolbert does have a slight edge on him because of what he was able to do against better competition, in my opinion. And I'll take a break right here to let us get into the Blast Artist of the Week, and then we'll continue on.
Yes, indeed. The Blast Artist of the Week is sponsored by the Lee Law Firm. If you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and need some legal assistance, you can look up the Lee Law Firm on Facebook, but there also will be an ad at the end of the video. Tonight's Blast Artist of the Week is my man Yamasani, Texas Zone, and this is called Gratitude. Love this guy.
Do you know who you are? Do you know where you're from? You are a superstar, don't let them fool you now. Do you know who you are? Do you know where you're from? You are a superstar, don't let them fool you now. Pay homage to the one that never make promise that he can't keep. Praise to you, hands raised to you, I would never lie. No, I lie for safety. Spit aquatic and my logic is a problem for them demons following you can't see. Gentleman, a product of a great G, cause I did my goddess like I'm Shang-Chi. Put a ring, she ain't gotta thank me. Skin brown so they try to hate me. Menace to society, sire, wait T, cause I got a higher vibing Ray key. In the desert with my lions, all you do is lock us up. I provide the gate key. Strong mind, calm in a long line. Willpower at the height of 8-3. Down 2 when it come down to a clutch verse. I provide a late 3. Hammer MCs, you can't touch this. Like a far out away tree. Real ones I wanna link up and build with you. More than Kyrie calling KD. Learn from Elijah, Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan, and Muhammad Ali. I remember growing up watching Mammy clean kitchen in a Tom and Jerry scene. Move on the low, make you marvel at my shape shifting like an honorary creed. 3 kings that are raised inside the kingdom. Guess it kinda made me. Praise to the most high, God is great. My response when you compliment me. She the one that gave it to you, better give it up. He the one that gave it to you, better give it up. Show appreciation for you, better live it up. Better give it up, gotta live it up. She the one that gave it to you, better give it up. He the one that gave it to you, better give it up. Show appreciation for you, better live it up. Better give it up, gotta live it up. Do you know who you are? Do you know where you're from? You are a superstar, don't let them fool you now. Do you know who you are? Do you know where you're from? You are a superstar, don't let them fool you now. Just trying to spread the good word, cause I heard it through the grapevine. Did you know you come from great minds? Did you know your DNA's 9? Did you know that there's a plan to keep your race locked up like Akon? Did you know your people battled on the stage different than the one from K-Shine? We was in the field, weapons in the shield, never hesitant to ref and it was real. Gave to each other, never had to put it in the fine print section of a wheel. Bathed with each other, close up, soap suds up to the chest, it was a thrill. Stayed with each other, kept you stepping in protection, don't put aggression and we peel. Do you know who you are? Do you know where you're from? You are a superstar, don't let them fool you now. Do you know who you are? Do you know where you're from? You are a superstar, don't let them fool you now. She the one that gave it to you, better give it up. He the one that gave it to you, better give it up. Show appreciation for you, better live it up. Better give it up, gotta live it up. She the one that gave it to you, better give it up. He the one that gave it to you, better give it up. Show appreciation for you, better live it up. Better give it up, gotta live it up. She the one that gave it to you, better give it up. Better give it up. Show appreciation for you, better live it up.
The Lee Law Firm.
The Lee Law Firm.
It is a law firm for those in the Dallas-Fort Worth area seeking a holistic approach to solving their legal matters. Just some of the legal services the firm provides. It's divorces, custody suits, child support, and adoptive child services, criminal defense, DUI defense, wills, trust, power of attorneys, and many, many more. You can contact the Lee Law Firm.
The Lee Law Firm.
And make sure that you say the word blast when you speak to the Lee Law Firm representatives and receive 10% discount on your initial retainer to hire the firm. Yes, indeed. And that is our boy Yamasani, who is in Texas. And that was called Gratitude. And if you are an independent artist or even a spoken word poet or even an up-and-coming comedian looking for some exposure, you can go to blastmusic247.com and register for free. But Blast is also needing fans like you that love music So definitely go to blastmusic247.com and you can register as a fan and have access to hundreds of great independent music. So again, that's blastmusic247.com, changing the industry one artist at a time. All right, Star, back.
Thank you, Veep, and shout out to, I think you said Yamasani. I really like that song. So you guys check him out, Texas native. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue. I think, and honestly, Veep, if you could help us before we get into the tight ends, if we could just show the clips that I sent you of Deuce Vaughn and also Jalen Tolbert, just to give our viewers here, just remind them of a little bit of what these guys were able to do on Saturday. So you guys don't think I'm just hyping them up. But they deserve to be hyped up because of the work that they did. If you have those clips.
Deuce Vaughn.
Okay, yeah, just play, just do Deuce.
Almost broke to the second.
We don't
Deuce Vaughn
have
in the backfield again. 1st and 10. Back to Deuce. Puts a foot in the ground, goes left, and he picks up a
Put your foot in the approach the line of scrimmage, put your feet in the ground and change directions.
And a little sin. Bend to the left. Deuce Vaughn past the 50-yard line. The crowd getting in. Fresh set of downs for Dallas. Back to Deuce Vaughn. Vaughn ripped down from behind. A dangerous tackle up to the line. 2 tight ends to the right-hand side. Greer scanning. Back to Vaughn underneath. And he's pushed out after a gain of about name was called. 3rd down. Back to Deuce. Almost got out of a shoestring tackle, but a nice job. Just under 4 to play. Deuce Vaughn taken down behind the situations on 2nd and short. Here goes Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn up to the 2nd level. Breaks a couple tackles, and he's down to the 20. For 103 and a touchdown. Here goes Deuce Vaughn on the first play of the 4th. Picks up 2 yards. Greer running out of time, and he finds Vaughn underneath the Jacksonville defense, but just in time. The ball. 1st and goal is the Deuce chance. Rain down here from Cowboys Nation. Deuce again. Deuce in the end zone.
Just phenomenal stuff from Deuce, guys. Just phenomenal. So I really wanted y'all to see that. I should have played that right after, or have y'all saw that right after I talked about him. But anyway, y'all saw it now, and y'all saw what he was able to do. And again, that was just game 1. So we can only imagine what he's going to do for game 2, preseason game 2 and 3, and then when we actually get into the season. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into as well next the tight ends. So Jake Ferguson stock is up. Now, Jake, I think he played the whole first half, or he may have left early in the second, but boy, did he was the one who was able to get us in some sort of rhythm in that first half. He had a big catch up the seams. It was a cover 2, and he just went straight to the seams, and Cooper Rush hit him right on the money, and he made a big grab. And y'all know this is why we were not on the panic train. Well, Star wasn't on the panic train when we let Dalton Schultz go. Because although Dalton Schultz was a reliable guy, he was a guy that was more so had those high numbers because of the system in which he was in, compared to him being this dynamic tight end. The catch that Jake Ferguson made, there was 2 or 3 instances last season in his limited staff that he made those type of go up and get them type of catches. And that's just what you want to see from your tight end 1. A big body guy who can go up and who is a mismatch for defensive backs, right? Because of their size. And so he was phenomenal. So I definitely will say his stock is up for sure. Peyton Hendershot, I'm saying his stock is down. Now, granted, in his defense, his number wasn't called much, if at all. But I would attribute that to either him not being open or maybe the play just wasn't designed for him. As I said, I haven't had a chance to review the actual all 22 to really dissect, why wasn't he really getting the ball. But when I was watching him in pass and run blocking, it wasn't good. And he honestly was not good at that last season. So, because that's just really not his strong suit at all. So I do not think that his spot is solidified as tight end 2. And then when we come in and hear about, him having the dropsies in training camp, I don't think it's looking great for him. John Stevens, now a lot of people were going off about John Stevens. I would say his stock was about even. You could say that it's slightly up, but I mean, he didn't, from what I saw, from what I saw, he had he was targeting, he had a good run after catch, giving us a first down, but I really didn't see him just really turning up or anything like that. If you guys in the comments, y'all can let me know. In the blocking, I think, he did a decent job, but again, it was nothing to me phenomenal. So I'm going to just say his stock is even. And then Luke Shoemaker, our second round pick, we're just glad for one that he was even on the field, because y'all know he missed the first 2 weeks of training camp because he is suffering from he had a slight tear, I think. And yeah, he's suffering from plantar fasciitis. So, but he was actually able to play on Saturday against the 3s, I think, and the 4s, because he didn't come into the second half. But I say that his stock was even because he was reliable. He caught some balls, and I also saw him being the blocker that we brought him here for. So he didn't exceed expectations, but he did about what I expected him to do. So that's why I said his stock is even. So right now, I feel like the tight end 2 battle is really up in the air. I left off Sean McEwen because I don't see Sean McEwen. We more so use Sean McEwen as a fullback, to be honest, guys. So I don't really see him being, and he's been here for a while. I don't see him being tight end 2, but this John Stevens kid and Luke Shoemaker and Peyton Hendershot may be in the running for it. Like I said, we got to see more. I would like to see Peyton Hendershot show up more next game as well. All 3 of those guys, Peyton Hendershot, John Stevens, Luke Shoemaker, I would like to see more from them. So maybe we could possibly sit Jake Ferguson next game and just allow these young tight ends to really battle it out. There's also a guy that I didn't hear his name at all. I'm like, did he even play? Princeton Fant? I didn't see much from him at all either. So we could see more of these tight ends. I don't think we need to put Jake Ferguson out there, because at this point we know who he is, and it's tight end 1. That's why I say it the nose, tight end 1 for sure. So I would like to see the rest of these other 3 guys in the next game more to really get a better evaluation on them. And then I also, once I review the all 22, I'll get a better idea of all of them. But right now, they all did okay, but I didn't see anything dynamic. Okay, we can get into the next slide here, B. Now, offensive line. Would you guys help me? Okay, there we go. So, offensive line. The offensive line play as a whole, guys, wasn't good. It was not good, and this is what I'm attributing to. It was too many new people on the field. The big thing about offensive line is they have to have continuity. They have to have chemistry. That line was basically, let's throw out all our backups and our rookies and our undrafted free agents out there and see what they can do. And it was just a mess, because with offensive line play, you need, like I said, the chemistry. You need the, what's the other word I'm looking for? Camaraderie. You guys have to be on the same page in order to exchange your assignments and do all that. And they were just to be honest, everybody to me looked confused. Mac Valesco, I said his stock was even. He settled toward the end of the second quarter, but strength is an issue for him. In run and pass pro, sustaining blocks is an issue for him. Josh Ball, strength is an issue, especially in pass protection. It's not really an issue in the running game per se, because I've seen Josh Ball even last preseason. I see him drive his guys a lot out of the way, but when it comes to pass protection, he struggles. He's still struggling. I think I have to look deeper, and I'm gonna review the O-line gurus, Vash Lombardi, the OC, and see what their evaluations were, because these are offensive line, like I said, gurus, right? Who are in the Dallas Cowboys content creator nation. But the feet to me for both of them did not look great in the strength. And honestly, I don't know what we can do about strength. At this point, the season is here. I don't really think they can make any more weight gain. So I guess they're just going to have to get that technique down as best as they can. But Brock Hoffman, which was a center, he didn't have any bad snaps or anything like that. To me, he won reps, he lost reps. That's why I said even. I didn't see him do incredible, but I also didn't see him do terrible. Now, so I say Matt Waletzko and Josh Ball is even stock-wise, because it's like, they weren't god-awful, but they just weren't great, and that's what I expected them to be. Just, you right? So, now talking about Matt Farniok, his stock is down. His stock is down, and that is crazy because he had the most experience on that line, guys, and he looked the most inexperienced. I mean, he was on the ground a lot. He was getting blown off the ball continuously. He looked terrible. So his stock is down. And I really think it's because he's not a left guard. He's suffering from the same issue that we've had the previous years. We keep putting guys at left guard who are not left side players, i.e. Connor Williams. He was terrible, not terrible here, but he was just average here. He goes to Miami and becomes a center, which was he's a center / tackle coming out of college. And guess what? Playing great. Then we had Connor McGovern playing out of position. He's a center / right guard, but we had him playing left guard the whole time. So once again, like this left guard position, and it sucks too because we couldn't see Chuma Ndoga because he's freaking hurt. So we just need to thank God that we have Tyler Smith. But again, we still got to get this backup figured out, because Matt Farniok is just not it. He wasn't it last season at left guard. He's still not it this season at left guard. He's not it. So we really need to figure that out. I don't know if maybe we can push Awesome in there. Awesome, I said his stock, Awesome Richards, which was our 5th round pick, I said his stock was about even, because I saw some good things from him, but I also saw some bad things from him. But I didn't expect him to be great. He was a 5th round pick, guys. And to me, he looked like he looked out of college. He's got some things to work on as far as feet, as far as leverage, right? He's got some things to work on, but I mean, he wasn't just getting destroyed out there. Now, moving on to TJ Bass. And I'm going to tell y'all this. The third team offensive line looked better than the second. Now, I do think that has a lot to do with they're obviously going against the 3rd and 4th team, right? Or the 3rd, I don't know if they're the 4th team, but they're obviously going against the backups. So I think that's why they were able to look better. And obviously the second team was going against the Jacksonville Jaguars 1st team, which was, oh my God, a nightmare. But TJ Bass, who is the backup right guard, he actually played pretty well. I didn't see him get beat too much. Had a good, strong base, good hand placement. I really like what I was seeing from him, quite honestly. And those runs that we watched with Deuce Vaughn, Deuce was pretty much going to the right side. And that's, excuse me, guys, Deuce was going to the right side. And that's obviously where he was running behind TJ Bass and also Alex Taylor-Priolu, which I didn't even know who this kid was. But, I mean, when I saw him out there, I think he actually did a fairly decent job. That's why I said stock us up, because I didn't even know this kid existed on our roster. I was like, who is that? But, I mean, he actually did a good job of leverage, not getting beat too much. I mean, and he's a backup. So I would expect him to go out there and just look terrible, and he did not. So that's why I'm saying those two stocks are up, because they pretty much exceeded my expectations. They look better. TJ Bass and Alex Taylor Priolu looked better to me by each other than Josh Ball and Matt Lewis. Again, I know they were playing against lesser competition, so I would like to see. So Laurie, let them play against better competition next game, just because what they were able to show against the Dreams. And I say, is Star in panic mode about the O-line depth? I am not in panic mode. I think, again, as I said, a lot of the issues was because there were no true veterans out there. I do think Josh Ball would play better if he has Terrence Hill next to him. I do think Matt Waletzko would play better if he's got Zach Martin next to him, which, shout out to the Dallas Cowboys and Zach Martin for reaching an agreement. So everybody can stop panicking. Zach Martin has been signed for this year and next year. He's got fully guaranteed money. He is going to be in Oxnard tomorrow. So let's clap for that. But really, the offensive line play was poor because there were no true veterans out there. So the players just did not know what they were doing. But hopefully, and we have to know that it's never going to be all backups playing in season. So y'all need to look at that as like a silver lining. Like, it's never going to be all of these guys out there playing together. They're always going to have some type of veteran next to them. So that is a silver lining to seeing how they played on Saturday. But yeah, they did not look good as a whole. But that's okay. I think, they'll continue to build. Like I said, there'll be veterans next to them if they end up having to play in the season. So I do think that, and obviously they're going to continue to develop. As you get more reps, you're just going to get better. So I'm not in panic mode. And I don't think you guys should be. I think it's going to be okay. But let's move on to the next slide. Now, defensive line. Woo! So now we get to the favorite part, and I'm going to try to wrap this up. Guys, I think I got 30 more minutes because I started the show. But defensive line, Dante Fowler, stock up, which I expected. I expected Dante Fowler. This is a former first-round pick, guys, former Pro Bowler. We know, and based on the limited snaps that he got last year, I mean, the guy's got the juice. He is what you call a pass rushing specialist. So Dante Fowler, great. They were really keeping contained. Him and Sam Williams, they were keeping contained. And that helps so much in limiting outside runs and things like that. They showed incredible. That's the word that I have for how our entire defense played. Our entire second team defense, they had so much discipline. And the fact that they pretty much wouldn't have even given up a touchdown against the Jaguars starters had Cavante Turpin not fumbled. That's phenomenal. Our second team would be first team on other teams. So they looked great. Dante Fowler, stock up. Sam Williams, stock up. Mozzie Smith, stock up. There have been talks, some Eagles fans and some Cowboys fans or, saying that Mozzie, his get off may have looked a little slow, he didn't get a sack or whatever the hell. But Mozzie, and y'all excuse me because my dog's not saying about it, but Mozzie to me looked, now I told you guys, I went back and rewatched the game today. Mozzie looked very good to me. He was virtually unblockable, and they were literally triple teaming him. They were triple teaming a rookie. Do y'all realize what that means? Like, Mozzie was so disruptive, and he was even on some snaps beating triple teams and getting the tackle. So I think we kind of need to chill on Mozzie. I think he played his debut, and even Coach Dirty, who was the defensive line coach, said he can't even believe that people are even down on Mozzie because he literally did some very good things. And am I saying he did perfect? No. But did y'all expect him to play perfectly? This was his first time playing in an NFL game. The kid looked good out there. He looked strong, exactly why we brought him here. Be strong, plug up that middle, don't be on the ground, take up blocks so that the linebackers can run free. And guess who was running free? The linebackers. We're going to get to them on the next slide, but man, were those linebackers flying around. And y'all know why they were flying around? Because the middle was clogged. The defensive ends were handling, I agree with you, Nisi. The defensive ends were keeping the edge contained. Now, with Neville Gallimore, I say stock even. I think Neville Gallimore has just struggled with consistency. And I think we saw some good things, but I mean, he was playing with the freaking third team. He wasn't even playing with the second team. So I need to see him against better competition, because at this point, Neville, you should have been out there. Number one, but who started the game? Mozzie Smith and Osa Digizua. So Neville, like, even though you had a pretty decent game, like, we need to see you versus better competition. Because, buddy, this is your fourth year. This is your fourth year, I think. Like, we gotta see more consistency. Quentin Bohanna, stock even. I think he did his job, clogging up that middle. He did about what I expected him to do. He does look like he got slightly stronger, because I didn't really see him on the ground or anything at all. So I think he did a pretty good job. And then Ben Benogu. I think he is not a rookie. We signed him. He was a free agent. I really like Ben Benogu from what I've seen. What I was able to see from him, it seemed like he was continuously getting pressure, and he's a huge guy. That's why I said he's Randy Gregory-ish, right? I'm not saying he's Randy Gregory, but I'm saying ish because of his height. He seemed like just an overwhelming force. I think he got to work more on his technique to be more consistent. But I think just overall, like, he really did do a good job, and I wasn't really expecting that from him as a free agent journeyman. So I think he did a pretty good job. Let's move into the next slide, Veep. Linebackers. Damone Clark, stop up. Damone Clark was calling the defense. I think this was the test for Dan Quinn to see, can he call my defense? And if y'all can't tell from Saturday that he can call your defense, I don't know what to tell you. The kid was flying around everywhere. I saw some rando on Twitter saying that he's not a hard hitter and he's basically a black LVE. I think that is completely nonsense. He was laying dudes out. He was flying around. He was seeing the plays before they happened, which is what you want from your Mike linebacker. The kid was playing out of his mind, and I expected that from him. I expected him to play that, but he honestly exceeded my expectations. Just how quickly he was able to read and react. And again, a big part of that is because of Mozzie, because of Osa, because that middle was clogged. So they weren't having to take on 300-pound linemen. Demarion Overshaw, stock up. The kid was flying around like a chicken with his head cut off, and he was hitting people hard. And I think that's the biggest reason why we drafted him in the first place. And he showed up. There was a key play that he did. Was that the first? I think that was the first quarter where he literally stopped the running back in the hole himself. A linebacker. And see, that was one thing I was worried about, because coming out of college, Demarion, I was like, I don't really see him shedding blocks too well. Sure, he sheds a block here and there, but for him to stand that kid up in the hole by himself, what a phenomenal job. A phenomenal job. So Demarion Overshown, his stock is up for sure. Jabril, his stock is even. He did a good job, but he really didn't make an impact how I wanted him to make an impact. I am sad as well because he was not out there with the second team. Dan Quinn put Damone Clark and Demarion. He put Damone Clark and Demarion Overshown in over him. That's not giving me confidence about Jabril. So, guys, I don't know what we're going to do about Jabril. I'm not saying that he's going to be cut, but his chances of being a starter on this defense is just looking slimmer and slimmer and slimmer, especially since how DeMarvion showed up. So, but Jabril Cox, he wasn't a liability or anything out there. There was some plays where he was able to run people out of bounds because that's like, he's a speedster. But I just would like to see a little bit more from him. Maybe Dan Quinn will give him a little bit more burn, versus better competition this upcoming week. Malik Jefferson, I say his stock is even. He did about what I expected him to do, to be honest. He made some good plays. He almost got he forced the ball out and almost got the turnover, but it unfortunately hit the ground. There's some places that he ran, people out of bounds because of his speed. But then he also gave up a touchdown because he bid on a QB option. And it was his job to keep contained. So, and then now he's injured. So that really messes him up. He left, I think, the fourth quarter early. And I don't think seems like it's not terrible, but it's not great. So I think he's gonna miss this week as well, and that's just not good for him, especially considering how well the other linebackers are playing. Devin Harper, I say stock up. He was flying around. I would like to see him against better competition as well. But he looked really, really good from what I see. He was reading, reacting. He was there. He was laying the hits. But like I said, I need to see him against better competition. But his stock was definitely up, and he kind of reminded me of what he looked like last preseason before he got hurt with that Achilles injury. So kudos to the linebackers and another thing, discipline. Y'all remember when we played the Jaguars in the season last season, we were getting killed because of the eye discipline, the misdirection. And guess what? Doug Peterson tried to pull that crap on us this year. We said, not this year. And if our backups are saying not this year, what do y'all think our starters are going to do? The discipline, the eye discipline was to me, I'm going to say elite from the linebackers. The eye discipline was elite. Okay, let's move into, I think this is my last slide with the defensive backs. And then we'll close the show out. I'll give y'all my overall grade and then we'll close out. So, defensive backs. Nashawn Wright, stock is even. I think he did some good things, but he really didn't impact the game all that much. That's why I say stock is even, but he didn't do anything for me to be like, his stock is down. I think he did about what we expected him to do. I think he did come up and make some tackles, which that's something that he was good at even last season. So, stock is even. Kelvin Bossman Fat Joseph, stock is up. I'm very, very proud of KJ because we know he was getting a bad rep in college, not college, but he was getting a bad rep. What's up, Mickey? Good to see you. That's my girl, Craven Cowboys. But he was getting a bad rep in training camp. All those highlight videos in the 11-on-11 drills and in the one-on-one, he was getting the balls caught on him. But he showed up yesterday because he was targeted multiple times and there was not a single ball caught on him. And he was in that wide receiver's hips like white on rice. I am very proud of Kelvin Joseph. If he continues to build off of that, I already said, I think last week, that he's not going to be cut or anything like that just because of his impact on special teams. But, he was giving me confidence yesterday that if something does happen to Diggs or Stephon Gilmore, that we can trust him. And I like that because Kelvin Joseph has just been keeping his head down. Just keep your head down. You don't need to take to social media. You don't need to be extra. He shut everybody up by his play, and that's what you got to do. When the team and when the fans are down on you, you've got to prove it with your play. So shout out to KJ. I'm super proud of him. Eric Scott, I'm saying his stock is down. There were times he lost contain, which y'all know Dan Quinn likes to use his his defensive backs or his safeties to come up and field. And when he lost contain, he gave up huge gains. That's given the Jaguar offense momentum. He was getting routed up. Routed up meaning he's going one way and the guy's going another way, leaving too much space between him and the wide receiver. He just looked like he was just a little bit didn't know what he was doing out there, which is not what you like to see, especially when he was having such a great camp and OTAs. So he's seeming like he may be a camp superstar, but I don't know. I don't want to put too much on him. We'll see how he does this upcoming week, but I know in the game, it was not clicking for him. I don't know if the game speed was too much, if he was just nervous, but he did not look great. Israel Mukuamu stock even. I think Izzy looks like Izzy. He did have a holding penalty that ended up causing, I think, a touchdown. Well, it didn't cause a touchdown, but it caused them to get the first down when we had stopped them, and then they scored on that drive. Izzy sometimes in man coverage, he has a little bit of a problem holding. And so I need to see him develop and get better with that. And it's always slight. It's not like egregious, but when the refs catch it, they catch it. So I would like to see him get a little bit better in that. Trusting his self, his hips, and all that stuff with man coverage instead of holding. Because, again, when you do that type of stuff, you give up first downs and it can lead to touchdowns. Marquise Bell, stock is up. He was around the ball a lot. I kept hearing his name. He was everywhere the ball was. He was there. And he had key pass breakups, including some that could have been one that could have been a touchdown. So I'm really, really, really proud of Marquise Bell. He did give me confidence that I think he was strong safety, if I'm not mistaken. Or is he free safety? I'm not sure where he's at on the depth chart. I think he's behind J-Ron. J-Ron's a strong. So, but he did a good job. He was also, Dan Quinn was asking him to do what he asked his strong safeties to do, cover those tight ends and stuff like that. He was doing a pretty good job at that. So shout out to Marquise Bell for really showing up yesterday as well, giving us confidence that, one of those guys go down, he can take the place. Wanye Thomas, stock is up. Stock is up. That kid was flying around. He was coming up feeling. I know he had that one big catch on him from the tight end, but that was just honestly an amazing catch from the tight end because he was in great position. The ball just really went right past his hand into the hand of the tight end. The tight end came over. So, you can't really put that against him because he was, like I said, he was in great position. He ended up getting an interception against Trevor Lawrence, the first drive of the game. So, I mean, he came out with the juice. But like I said, he was flying around. He was around the ball all the time. I really, really liked what we saw from him. I really, really liked what we were able to see from him for sure. And yeah, I think that concludes my my individual player analysis. And now I'm going to get to my overall grades. So, on the offense, overall, I give it a C. Because, yes, we were able to score. We were able to move the ball. But mental errors from running backs, mental errors from the offensive line. I mean, that's the majority of the offense. Mental errors from the quarterbacks. Like I said, Will Greer, Cooper Rush did not look great. Only people that looked great on that offense was the wide receivers. So I'm going to have to give them a C. So you pass, but barely. Defense, A. I'm giving them an A. Because what they were doing against that first team, Jaguars team, and this is a playoff team, right? Y'all remember the Jags make the playoffs. They beat the Chargers in the wild card. And honestly was coming close. They were battling the Chiefs. They weren't getting blown out. They were battling the Chiefs. So defense and A. I think they did great. There's some individual players that made some mistakes, and I covered that. But overall, I think they did great, and they showed us that they are the truth. The defense is the truth. We may be getting back to the Legion of Dan Quinn, Legion of Boomish, Doomsday defense. This defense I'm hoping this defense is top 3 in the league. Honestly, top 2. That's how I'm feeling. When your depth is playing like that, we're going to be a problem. We're going to be a problem. And so overall, team grade gets a B. Totally, if you're doing your offense and your defense, it gets a B, right? I think play with a lot of heart. We saw a lot of good things from our young players. There were players that stepped up. There were players that proved what we already thought. There's some players that didn't show up. But I think ultimately what the team was able to produce, we didn't look too bad out there, right? I think we got to get some things going more on the offense, but ultimately we didn't look too bad, guys. I'm very, 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 very proud of what we saw, and I'm hoping that we can see. I'm excited to see what they're going to do this week as well on Saturday. And I forgot, who do we play this? Somebody put in the chat, who do we play on Saturday? Y'all forgive Star, because I didn't even. Oh, well, I know we play Seattle. So we're going to play Seattle on Saturday. So y'all stay tuned, because I'm going to be talking about, if y'all follow me on my platform, y'all know we have our, I have my Girls Talk. Shout out to my girl Mickey, Craven Cowboys in the chat. We have our Girls Talk ball that we're going to do on Wednesday at 7. So we're going to talk a little bit about, a preview of that game on Wednesday. But anyway, guys, that's all your girl Star got for tonight. I really appreciate you guys rocking with me tonight in the chat. I love every single one of you guys who support me. Special shout out to Kevin Richards, because he continuously donates to my channel. And Kevin, I want you to know that I see you and I really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Guys, please, like I said, like this video, share this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Stargazer Sports. Subscribe to the BlastMusic 247 YouTube channel as well. Follow me on social media, on Facebook, Stargazer Sports Media, on Instagram, Stargazer_sports, and on Twitter, The Stargazer, but instead of an E, it's a 3 in Gazer and 2 R's at the end. And please donate to your girl, Stargazer Sports, via Cash App, which is $, Stargazer Sports. And yeah, that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you for rocking with me. Y'all have a good night, and y'all stay blessed. See you later.